Hi. Yeah, it's Nick Struan here coming to you from Perth, Western Australia. And this morning I thought I would talk to you about something that's close to my own heart, if you like. Older age. Okay, so I'm talking to you boys out there, about things that affect us in later life, if you like. Now, let me just throw a caveat and you here. I'm not a medical doctor and I don't proclaim to be one. So if you have any problems that are urgent and indeed not urgent, then please I ask you to seek medical attention and get some professional advice. But having said that, I've lived a long life and I've had a happy life, and I think that in that time I've learned a few things about, managing and keeping myself on track. Okay, so I certainly would like to give that benefit to other people, and I hope that you maybe I can suggest that you do that too. Okay, but let's just talk about some of the most normal things first. Let's talk about something I've battled for a long time, which is like extra weight creeping up on all different places that shouldn't be, stiffness and joint pains and whatever else you have. Like, let me just tell you, I have been actively teaching and doing martial arts for almost 40 years, so 35 of those as a teacher. So um, it's not that my body has not been having exercise. I have, uh, never sort of really endorsed this coming home sedate lifestyle and then sitting in front of the TV very much, because I felt that was very boring. So no, I've always been very active, and having a knee surgery a few years ago, I said to the surgeon, I said, "What's going on here?" Like, I've been exercising and doing all the right things for so many years, and now I have all these issues. And he says, "Well, basically, you did too much." Too much? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, the body's not used to having this pounding um, thing happening all the time, or it's not cushion enough, or whatever it is, right? But anyway, my joints has in some ways suffered for that, and as a result, I have quite a few issues there. Now, I've since learned there's other things at hand too. It's not just what I've been doing of exercise; it's also my lifestyle and the way I live. So these are some of the things that I would love to share with you if you have a similar situation happening, and I'm sure we can talk about that. Now, there's other things that of more internal nature that I want to discuss with you as well. Some are, of course, the prostate, which I had a thing happening a few years ago, which I managed to research and actually alleviate altogether, simply by using alternative products. One of the things I read on the internet was, to have a biopsy could be a devastating thing, because as the needle goes into the bad area, when they retract the needle, it also goes through the good part of the prostate, and actually infect the rest of it. So I said to my surgeon, "I'm sorry, but I'm not having that happening. So I will look and find all alternative arrangements and see." And now he wasn't too happy with that, and unfortunately, that's something that sometimes you have to be prepared to accept a personal risk to yourself, of course, and which I did. Okay. Now, other things, ED and as I said, obesity and also joint pains and general lungs and health problems, and all of these things there that we can. That's my message here. I suppose that we can do something about it. What not to do is to stick your head in the sand and not discuss it with anyone, because that's not going to help you. It's not going to help anyone whatsoever, and except it's going to hurt the people around you, because you are going to move around like an old man before you actually get a chance to enjoy your senior years there. I saw an an article in somewhere a long, long time ago about grumpy old men, right? And and I've sort of looked at that seriously, and I've discussed it with my doctor, and he said, well, one of the things is that your testosterone levels go down after 35 years of age, and a lot of things after that starts to suffer. And that was what this article was actually about. That was about the testosterone levels dropping, and as such, you become grumpy old men, right? So I said, no, I don't want to be a grumpy old man. So, let me look into this, which I did seriously. And I believe I found some solutions. You know, I'm 62 years old now, and but I've never been feeling better than I do now. I'm still a bit overweight, but that's going down. I'm working on that, and my life is full of projects, and I have a sound and healthy appetite for what's going on and for traveling and stuff like that. So, it all something that if you care to, feel free to connect with me, and we can discuss some of the things, and I'll be happy to give you the benefit of my experience. And again, let me not try to pull the wool over your eyes and say that I'm a whole bunch of stuff and I know so much. But I do know a bit. I've read a lot, and I've had a very exhaustive life sometimes. Okay, let's just talk about a few other things, and that's about you, for instance, right? Because you are very special, believe it or not, and I'm wanting to encourage you also to share, just like I do, to actually share these experiences, with other people, and let me say that you can also make a little bit of a pretty penny from that. Not that you perhaps are doing it for the money, but you know the money can be used for so many other things by so many other people. If you don't want it, right, you can give it to someone and they can do something with it, right? So, I'm not suggesting that it is purely just to get the money, but certainly money is important, just as oxygen is, and if you are getting some, then great. But what I want to talk about is your experiences. Let's say you're an engineer and you are really good at it, or you had a long, outstanding career in that area, or a roof builder, or a washing lady, or whatever your thing was. Maybe you're good at riding horses, playing guitars, playing the trumpet. Maybe you're a good runner. Maybe you're a good reader. Maybe you're good watching movies. Maybe you know a lot about music. It doesn't really matter, right? Because it's such a shame. I see so many people who are so clever and so amazing. They've had such fantastic lifestyles, and it never gets parted on to anyone, right? My own stepfather, he's been a truck driver for most of his life, and he has experience as a long haul truck driver, driving all over Europe, and but he doesn't seem to be able all the time to get motivated to actually write some of these experiences down. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, I have a lot of stuff that I know, too. But I couldn't be bothered sitting down there trying to write this book or whatever, right? Now you don't need to, right? You can do what I'm doing right now, right? You can just sit and talk to your phone, yeah. Or if you really like writing, well, you can write it down, or you can use your computer, and it doesn't have to be in any order whatsoever, right? I have, as many of you know, I taught myself how to do internet marketing and become quite good at it. And I'm able to take all information in whichever form that you have, and I have people working for me who are able to write really well, right? In fact, many of them are actually very, very successful authors themselves, right? I also have people who do the graphics and record, all the information, the marketing material and everything like that. Of course, that costs a bit of money, but hey, you got nothing else to spend it on. So it would be a worthwhile project for you, right? Let's get together and let's share, some of the experience here. And of course, when I market your stuff on the internet, I charge a small fee for that. No secrets about that, because why else would I be able to spend my time doing it? So yeah, so but there's a lot of information there, but most of the time people think, like a lady the other day, and says, well, I don't know anything, I just went to an office all day, and I got there in the morning, I came home, and I don't know anything, and I said, well, so you have no skills that you're good at? And she said, well, I'm a good mother. I think so anyway. And I said, well, that's a skill, right? There's many, many people out there who doesn't know how to do it, right? Truly, yeah. I went to China, to mainland China. I was there for 4.5 years. And most of the Chinese people, they have their kids up to 11 o'clock at night and maybe 12 o'clock. They don't tell the kids to go to bed. No, the kids tell them when they should go to bed. Yeah. And I showed them videos, from, remember the nanny program, right? She's very clever with that, and I know her to be true, because that's how I learned to put my own kids to bed, right? You may have to persevere with the scream and the yells and the cries and whatever for 3.5 days, but after that, hey, no problem. The kids go to bed at 8 o'clock and they sleep all night and they're happy for it, right? So if you're a good mother and you know how to do this stuff, well, you don't have to be the nanny and anything. People don't relate to superstars. They relate to people like you and me. And if you have a message there and you are able to put it down in some form, I can present it in a really nice fashion, all depending on how much you want to spend on it. Of course, we can make a total, movie if that was the case, but maybe not want to spend that much. But, an ebook and online is someone's savior. Let's say that you're saying, well, I'm an engineer, but I don't think I have any skills either, right? Well, there's people in less fortunate countries than yours who has no idea of how to do things and how to learn. They may even still not have access to that sort of information, directly from a mentor. And this is what I'm telling you about. That to actually, I'm trying, and I'm very passionate about that moving forward, because I know one of the things that I neglected all the years. Like, look, I read about a lot of things, but then I tried then to assimilate all this knowledge into my brain and say, okay, now I know what the book says. But I realized in my later years that I actually need the person in the background, someone to talk to, someone to listen to, someone to answer my questions. So now I have about two or three very, very, wealthy people who is actually that which sort of guidance and I'm following, like like a mentor, right? Once a week, most of the time with the mentors, I connect with them and I listen to what they have to say and how they've done it, and of course, if you want to know how to bake bread, then talk to a baker, right? And I'm in internet marketing and social media. So, of course, having the most famous, best person, to do my social media mentoring, of course, would make sense, right? So this guy makes over $50 million a year, right? So I think he might have an idea about how to do things. But, I'm also like a little bit advanced on that. So if I wasn't and starting out, just sort of getting started, then listening to you on how to put things together or how to make things work. If you're a gardener, I mean, I love gardening myself, then I've spent so much money, with no success. So if I could read your book first and maybe even later have a chance to give you a call and say, hey, George, what's the story? This is what's happening, you know and you'll be able to say, well, look, Nick, just do this, do that, or whatever. Follow the book, in that page there, I told you to do this. That's where you went wrong, right? You know, you're going to understand and that people are needing. We live in an information age, right, where people have access to, via the internet, of course, access to information and knowledge coming from a variety of places. But unfortunately, they're not always coming from people like you and me, who has the basic fundamental experience on how to start. I was taught as a carpenter. I can build a house in wood and all kinds of things, right? And maybe somebody who is just starting out would like to have that information. I later became a builder, so I have some experience from that. Am I the best builder? No, obviously not, because I'm not doing it anymore. But does that mean I can teach someone a little bit about it? Of course it does. And the same thing with you. Even if you're a young person listening to this, you have so much experience in doing the young thing, right? Or even not to do, right? That could be written a book about what not to do as a teenager or as a young adult, right? Like, I mean, the way you go to school and the way you study, the way you handle yourself and your lifestyle. I saw a YouTube video the other day of a 13-year-old girl who's running a clothes program there, right? She models her own clothing for what to wear in school and what not to wear and all this sort of stuff. And she's very successful about it. She has like a 1.2 million followers, right? At the age of 13. Now, if you know anything about Google, that represents about $100,000 a year, right? That comes into your account every month, every year, right? So there is so much opportunity out there for people to actually do something. Now, let's just go back to the message. You don't know how to write. I understand you don't know how to do this. But again, if you can talk to your phone, if you can write it down, if you can type it down, or even come and tell me about it, I will put it down in one way or another. We will get it down on a piece of paper, and we'll get it down on an audio program or whatever it may be. And then we would fix it up and make it look really neat, and you'll be so proud when you see your first edition of your own work, like others have before you, and and then we'll put it on the internet, and you'll be so excited when you see that people actually find your stuff important and worthwhile, right? When you sell your first ebook online, you'll be so excited, right? That someone actually listened to you. And isn't that the case? Let me just go back to us old people again. Isn't that the case? We have so much experience and nobody wants to listen, right? You go to your grandkids, you say, oh, you should do this, you should do that. And they go, oh, yeah, all right, old fart. Yeah, you don't know nothing, right? This is like today. This is 2017, right? Yeah? But those self-same people will listen to other people if it came in a form of an ebook or an audio program or video, right? They will sit down and listen to me rather than listen to you because, they know you and they think, no, well, and, my grandkids or my children, very reluctant to listen to me. Have you ever tried to teach your daughter how to drive? Woo, big trouble, right? Because who are you? You've only been driving for 40 years, right? So, what do you know about driving? So anyway, yeah. But that's life, and that's how it is. That some people, they listen better to others. I'm a teacher, and I've been a teacher for 35 to 40 years now. And of course, people, they listen to what I have to say, not always because they want to, but, they certainly listen because they need the grades, right? So I teach English in China online, and that's a very, very exciting chapter that sort of has opened up for me there since I came back. I was teaching there in Guangzhou for 4.5 years, so I have a lot of experience in China and with Chinese people. So yeah, that's just another opportunity to open, and I have so many projects. Right, so many different projects, and really there is so much opportunity up there. Okay, now if you're the type of just come home, sit down, and watch TV, and think that's all there is to life, well, I have a message to you here, because that's not what there is only in life, and your life is starting at 50, and the amount of stuff that you can do from 50 into whatever time you decide to depart, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. you know and if there's anything that you sort of really really have as a passion or whatever, I encourage you to reach out to me, and old or young or whatever, and let's talk about it. Sometimes you just need to listen to someone who is excited about the future, and who has a few ideas about how to go about doing stuff, right? If you go to ask someone, Aunt Mary, Aunt Mary's going to say, oh, no, 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 no. I tried that once. That didn't work, right? Forget about it. Just go about doing your own thing, and forget about it, right? You can't do that. And you hear all this stuff. The naysayers are all around you, okay? So, anyway, it's been nice talking to you, and if I can help you in any way whatsoever, I'm happy to do so. So, take care, have a wonderful time today, and enjoy yourself. Thank you. Bye for now. Bye for now.